Welcome back to Let's Think About It. I'm your host, Dr. E. Today we're going to delve into an incredible topic. We're going to talk about Deborah, the judge, from Judges chapter 4 and 5. But today our topic is a tale of two cities of courage and faith. Deborah's story is found in the book of Judges chapters 4 and 5. It's a story of divine guidance, bold leadership, and the surprising ways that God can deliver victory. So let's set the scene. The Israelites were in a tough spot. After falling into idolatry, they found themselves oppressed by King Jabin of Canaan and his fearsome commander, Sisera. For 20 long years, the Israelites suffered under this harsh rule. In their despair, they cried out for God for help, and God answered through Deborah. Deborah wasn't just any judge. She was a prophetess, someone who heard directly from God. She held court under the palm of Deborah, and people from all over Israel came to have their disputes settled by her wisdom and insight. So one day, Deborah received a divine command. She summoned Barak, a military leader, and told him that God wanted him to take 10,000 men to Mount Tabor. There, God promised to deliver Sisera and his formidable army into Barak's hand. And Barak said, "I'll go, but only if you go with me. I will surely go with you, but because of the course you are taking," Deborah said, "the honor will not be yours. The Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman." With Deborah by his side, Barak assembled his troops. They climbed over to Mount Tabor, ready for battle. And when Sisera heard about their movements, he gathered his 900 iron chariots and all his men of the Kishon River. In a dramatic turn of events, God threw Sisera into the army into chaos. The mighty Canaanites forced him utterly into defeat, and Sisera fled on foot, abandoning his 900 chariots. He ran into the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber, the Canaanite. Jael welcomed him and offered him milk and covered him with a blanket. He was exhausted and fell into a deep sleep. And then Jael took action. He took a tent peg and a hammer and drove the peg through Sisera's temple, killing him instantly. Just as Deborah had prophesied, a woman claimed the final victory over Sisera. The Israelites celebrated their newfound freedom with a song in Judges 5 and records the song of Deborah, a victory hymn sung by Deborah and Barak, and one of its oldest pieces of biblical literature, celebrating God's deliverance and the bravery of those who stood up against oppression. Will the princes of Israel take the lead? And when the people willingly offered themselves, praise the Lord. The earth shook, the heavens poured, the clouds poured down water, and from the heavens the stars fought. From the courses they fought against Sisera. This was the song. Deborah's leadership brought peace to Israel for 40 years. Her story is a powerful example of how faith and obedience to God could lead to a miraculous victory, no matter how daunting the circumstance. So what can we learn from Deborah? Her courage to lead, her faith to trust God and his promises, her wisdom to act decisively, and her qualities that we all can aspire to. Deborah reminds us that leadership knows no gender, and that sometimes the most unexpected heroes can make the biggest differences. So I know some of you probably saying, where are you going with this? This week we saw a monumental pivot. VP Kamala Harris rising to the helms as the front runner of the Democratic Party. The question is not, is she qualified? The question is her race, and she's a woman who is at the helm of running the country. Black women have always been the front runners and trailblazers in the political arena and in life. Now, this next statement is going to shock some of you all, and you're going to probably say, I cannot believe that she just said this. So listen, I need for you to lean in and listen very carefully. Let me straighten my glasses because I don't want you to miss this point. It's very important. It's going to shock you, but let me say it. We were good enough for us to breastfeed your kids. We were good enough to run your households. And we're not good enough to run the country. I'm going to leave that right there. Some of you come and say, let me say it again. We were good enough to breastfeed your kids. We were good enough to run your household. But we're not good enough to run the country. Our support for Kamala is not optional. It is literally a matter of life and death. She said, and I believe her mantra, when we fight, we win. Because all we do is win. As women, we never lose. I know you're probably saying, I know some women that lost. No, they didn't lose. They just found a different way to get around it. You never allow defeat to take victory over you. You learn from your mistakes. You learn from your failures. And what you do, you learn to pivot. I had a friend of mine that went through a devastating ministry situation. It got very bleak for her. She had to leave the church because of a false accusation. And it devastated her. She didn't know what to do. She said, Erica, I got a government job. I can't have them saying I did X, Y, Z. What am I going to do? And I said to her, what you're not going to do, you're not going to walk in defeat. We're going to get through this, and we're going to come together. We're going to rally together, because I know that in this season of your life, you've got to win, and you cannot let them see you fail. But she said, Erica, I am so defeated. I said, you're not defeated. So for a season, we held her up. For a season, we covered her. We didn't let people know it, but we said, we're going to get through this. It took her some time, but I told her the other week, look where you are now. What would have happened if you would have given in to what they thought you did? And when it all washed out, she didn't do it, and they found out who really did it. So you didn't have to fight for yourself. I told her it's gonna come out. You just gotta be patient and wait it out. Do you not realize that waiting is the hardest thing to do? We don't wanna wait. We're impatient. We feel like if we don't get an answer today or tomorrow, that it's over. But sometimes you gotta wait it out. Kamala is in her season of waiting. But I believe this, that whenever we pull together, she's going to win. Now, are you saying, Dr. Erica, you prophesying to us that she's going to take the presidency? I don't know if she's going to win the presidency or not. But if she doesn't, she's still winning. What do you mean? She's made it. She's the second black woman to get to this place. Who was the first black woman? Shirley Chisholm. She was the first black woman to run for presidency. She got far. And because there were some men that didn't think she could do it, she didn't get to the next. She did not become the nominee. But we're going to see in our lifetime her accept the nomination and become the Democratic Party for the first female African-American to run for presidency in my lifetime. I didn't see the Shirley Chisholm. I've read her story. I've seen her movie. But I'm going to get to see it in my lifetime. So for all of you all that are skeptical that I don't know if she can do it, I want you to know this ain't the time for you to doubt her. This is the time for us, for the African-American community, to come together. I need every black millennial. If you're not registered to vote, I'm putting this plug in. I need for you to vote. I need for you to register. I need for every HBCU to get a campaign on your campus. I need for you to get everybody you know that they've never registered to vote. I don't care if they're 85. Get them registered to vote. This is something that we cannot let this victory go. My title is today, A Tale of Two Cities. While we're winning in the political arena, we lost on July the 6th for the murder of Sonia Massey. The thing that grabs me the most, the thing that shakes me to my core, she called the police because she thought someone was trying to break into her house. They didn't show up. They didn't raid her house. She called them. They came. And then the question that's looming on social media, and the question that many people are asking, she quoted the scripture, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Satan, I rebuke you. And they're saying, why did she still die? That's a question that a lot of us are probably thinking and asking ourselves. What we do know, and I got an answer for you. I'm not going to leave you hanging. What we do know is that she did have some mental health issues, as her dad said in the press release. But she did not deserve to die that way. They had them thinking that someone broke into her house. They had them thinking that someone else shot her, not a police officer. And when they came to the conclusion that it was an officer who did it, that made it even worse for them. So now she leaves a son behind, a family behind. They have to pick up the pieces of their life. There's a lot of conversation about she called on God, she rebuked the devil, and why didn't God answer her cry? When there was such an evil presence, and when you're dealing with the mind of someone who has mental health issues, they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable to the enemy to come in. They're vulnerable to different things that are around them. Acts 19 and 15 says this in context. One day the evil spirit answered them, Jesus I know, Paul I know, but who are you? Then the man who had an evil spirit jumped on them and overpowered them. Paul is in Ephesus, and in part in his ministry, he was using the power of the Holy Spirit and the authority of Jesus to heal people and to expel demons. This shows legitimate power in a city that was filled with witchcraft and charlatans. Charlatans, let me spell that word for you. You might not know that word, charlatans. That word means fraud, a faker, willing to do, virtually saying anything. What we saw is they were talking to her. They were even laughing with her in the video, telling her to make sure she go turn the water off because they didn't want her to catch a fire. All of a sudden, that officer's demeanor changed. He thought that she was going to pour the pot of water on her. He turns his body cam off, but his partner leaves his body cam on. He shoots her in the face, and his partner says, let me go get my kit. He says, no need, because that was a shot, an effing shot to the head. That was his words. The partner says, I need to go get my kit. He says, no need. And then he begins to curse the guy that shot her because he realizes that I shot her. But then he tells his partners, the people outside the interview, man, the water was at our feet. The camera never shows her throwing any water. So he made all of this up to justify why he shot her. We've seen victory, we've seen defeat. But what I do know for sure is that we serve a God of justice and vindication. God promises to execute perfect justice to those that have been unjustly and unfairly treated. I do not want us to forget her name. Let's call her name Sonia Massey, because I don't want the world to forget her name. The media is going to show her that in a limelight. They're going to pull out her mental health. They're going to paint her in a picture to someone who was unstable. They're going to present her as someone that wasn't sure of who she was. And yes, she struggled with mental health. And so do a lot of other people. And if the facts are true, he was dishonorably discharged from the military because of his mental health. He was on a police force. So now that tells us someone had a gun who himself should have never been able to get on a police force with an armed weapon in his hand. So now there's a lot of stuff in there that we're going to have to contend with over the next couple of weeks. They're going to paint her in one picture, and they're going to paint him in one picture. But I don't want you to forget Sonia Massey's name. I want you to remember that in this episode of Let's Think About all the nameless and faithless people who died that Kamala Harris represents. She's going to represent our ancestors. She's going to represent those who died at gun violence. She's going to represent those that couldn't vote, those that had to count jelly beans in a jar, those that couldn't read so they couldn't vote, those that couldn't sign their name on the line because they didn't know how to write. She represents those. So for those of you that says that I'm not going to vote, then you're choosing not to vote. But people die for the right to vote. We're talking about a tale of two cities. We're talking about someone who she herself had to come through the ranks. She got where she was. She didn't just get here. She was a district attorney in California. So she knows policy. She knows law. So don't forget and don't let media tell you she doesn't know what she's talking about. Oh, she's very well versed. She knows it. So I don't want you to get caught up in all the rhetoric of Trump calling her lying Kamala, all these things that we're going to hear about her the next week. And for Black African-American women, we've got to get braced that we're going to be demeanored, we're going to be talked about. They're going to be calling us all kind of names over the next couple of weeks and months. But don't you respond to the name calling. Stand your ground, because when we fight, we win. I want you to know that we're up against a very pivotal point in history. And I don't want us to miss this moment because we get stuck behind a name. They've called us names for years. Don't let a name stop you from voting. Don't you forget Sonia Massey. And don't you let them call Kamala out her name and you not speak up. I want you to be the voice for those who no longer have a voice, like Sonia Massey. She's not going to have opportunities to vote because her life was taken from her. But for those of you that can vote, I need for you to show up to the polls in numbers. And I need for you to think about it. I don't need for you to get lost in the rhetoric. Don't get lost in what's going on in the news, because there's going to be a lot of fake news out here. It's going to be a lot of fake numbers. They're going to post a lot of stuff, especially in my state, which is the battleground state. North Carolina's going to be one of those states that she's going to need to win. So I'm going to need for every Black, brown person, every minority, I don't care if you're women, I don't care who you are, I'm going to need for you to get registered to vote, and I'm going to need for you to show up to the polls and vote. Deborah had power. She had courage. She had faith. Don't you lose faith, because God didn't bring you this far to leave you. We've come too far. You can't give up now. Remember, this is the season to fight, because when we fight, we win. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay inspired, and let's keep thinking about it.